right, here we go. So for all of you, right, we are at the end of the semester. That feels like a good thing to me. Anyone else? Are you excited for the end of the semester? Maybe some of you have finals, so I apologize. Maybe some of you are dealing with my finals, so I extra apologize. But you know, it is the end of the semester. We're about to kind of go into a nice break, and then we'll be back in the spring and to do it all over again. But as we do every semester, the Spark program, we try to show off all the work that the students have done over the course of this semester. This particular semester, here, let me look up the number to get it exact, right? So we did 63 projects. Can I hear it? Like 63? Like, with 250 students. And today we're going to be doing 13 presentations on stage with about 63 posters as well. And the posters, remember, will be, they're largely downstairs. And so, you know, but check them out. They're very cool. But the on-stage presentations are the part that's now. So as we get started, just a little bit of background. So I'm Langdon White. I'm a faculty member in CDS, which, you know, we're kind of also have the same name as the building, but the Faculty of Computing and Data Sciences, and the technical director for Spark. And so that's me. The Spark program is here to offer experiential learning opportunities for students, which means we do third-party projects. So we do projects from the real world for students. We help manage those projects through a bunch of PMs. Are there any PMs here? You want to raise your hands? And so the PMs are supportive of those projects. And then some of the projects are strictly for third parties. Some of the projects are actually internal to the class. So the idea or the client is really in the class itself. And that's the first batch we're going to talk about. And so that's the innovation program. But then we'll talk about the other programs we have a little bit later. So I'd like to welcome the instructing team for the innovation class. It is, for future reference, hint, hint, XCC 475, if you want to enroll in it in the future. So welcome to the stage, Ziba, Adam, and Assad, not in any particular order.
Okay, so we are, I know.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. Oh.
Doctor.
No, yours isn't here.
Oh, yours is, okay. All right, hi everybody. So super excited to introduce the students in the innovation program. These are students that come with their own ideas, thank you. And then they start with an idea, and we help them go from idea to a working prototype by end of semester. So the program is inspired by a lot of processes that happen within companies, like the Google Design Sprint. So they do validation, problem identification pretty quickly at the beginning, and then the rest of the semester, they're building out their products. I'm super excited about the teams that you're going to see this semester. We have designers and developers, which will be represented by my colleagues here. We are just about to enter, we're finishing our 8th year in existence. Spark started across the street in a much less interesting space than we are here today, and it was about an 1/8 of the size. So we're super excited to show. I think that our space reflects the progress that the students have made as well over those years. So really excited for you to see what they have put together. And I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Assad, who has been with us in this journey for many years.
Yes. Thank you. So my name is Assad. I'm the technical instructor for 475, the course that Ziba just described. And I'll keep it short. I was very impressed this semester because you're going to see in the presentation just a variety and range of technical challenges that the teams have solved this semester is broader than it's ever been before. So we have full stack applications, but this semester we had a whole bunch of AI applications as well. That was fun. And they all had to work together to create the products that the teams are going to present in front of you. So again, as Ziba said, very proud of the work that you guys have done this semester. And yeah, just enjoy this presentation that you guys all have coming up. And over to Adam.
Hi. Hello. I'm Adam Cohn, and yes, instructor focusing on brand storytelling and UX and UI, helping out Ziba and Assad. I bring a long career in that space, and really was really happy to work with the students this year in terms of having them understand why they're making these products in the first place, and then being able to tell that story in really compelling ways so that not just the user stories, but just how they've created a brand and how important it is for the reason that brand exists to be steeped in the products that they're making. So congratulations to all of you students. I can't wait to see all the work today, and thanks to Ziba and Assad for the opportunity this semester. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce two of our TAs from the class, Jennifer and Nguyen, who will also introduce the teams. Thank you.
Hi everyone, we're the TAs of XC475. I'm going to introduce our first team for us today. It's Greenview. They are a platform turning sustainability data into real-time visuals to drive greener actions. Okay. Good? Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I really wish I was more sustainable, but I don't know if what I'm doing right now is sustainable or how to be sustainable.
Have you checked your green view?
Greenview, what's that?
Thank you for asking, Anna. That is a great question. So Greenview is a web-based platform that makes sustainable living on campus easier for students. So, here we go. You all walked over to the CDS building today. It's a pretty cool place. You know, it's all stacked. It's reflective. You know, really nice space to be in. But imagine this. You open the doors and you walk into a 1-foot thick layer of trash. Somehow you make it through that, and you get up here to the second floor to see all of our presentations. There's still trash. And this continues for the next 15 floors, which is saying something because this building is, I think, like only 17 or 18 floors. That's how much trash CDS has produced in the past year. Which brings us to our target user. So, students on campus that want to actively practice sustainability are having trouble, and they're hesitating for several reasons. They don't know where to start, they don't know what to do. There's all this information out there, what's right, what's not. They're really confused, and they definitely don't want to do it alone. So we gave them Greenview, which helps students run their sustainable intentions into actions and contribute to a greater environmental impact. So the way Greenview functions is the students are prompted to answer a series of questions, and they see their sustainability habits visualized. And they are given some suggestions and some solutions to improve their habits, which they can then implement in their lifestyle, change their habits, and come back, retake the quiz, and immediately see how much they have improved. So to sum it up, Greenview is for a greener BU. Thank you.
All right, guys, that was Greenview. And now, next up, we have CodeHive, a learning platform that bridges the gap between project sharing as well as real-time feedback for those who are interested in breaking into the tech industry. Let's give it a round of applause for CodeHive.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to CodeHive. It's a platform for developers by developers. And what we seek to do is solve a problem that many CS and early engineers and developers face, which is a lack of targeted feedback for their specific projects. And to do this, we integrate both the projects themselves with questions, allowing other users around the platform and their communities or hives to be able to actually understand where the problem is and use context on the rest of the project and answer questions. And in doing so, we hope to create a collaborative space that helps a lot of early developers grow into themselves and eventually go into their careers.
Oh, hello. So let's meet the team. I'm Will.
I'm Matt.
I'm Aiden.
I'm Emily.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Benson. So prior to developing, we surveyed over 40 prospective users in order to gain valuable insights about our vision. And here are the results. So 64% of the users said that they wanted fast, reliable, and accurate feedback about their projects. And 76% of them said that they were actively seeking for a community within software development.
So what's all the buzz about CodeHive? Don't just take our word from it. Take it from our pioneering testers that have said that they find the platform to be welcoming and warm, and that they think it's a novel idea, and they wish they had it when they first started coding.
So let's take a look at what makes CodeHive different. Here's a real-world example. A developer hits an error, and it has to do with React props. And instead of copying all their files and code context, they can directly get their code from GitHub. And the question, the code context, and the specific line references are all automatically synced with CodeHive. So this is what we mean by seamless context.
Yeah, so on CodeHive, we allow users to create and join what we call hives, which are basically just communities. And within a hive, users can ask more specific questions dedicated to certain topics, and that could range from like React or interview prep and many more. And this just lets more experienced users kind of act as mentors in these communities. And then just like as a whole, these hives just allow users to get their questions answered faster and more effectively. And as well just form communities with users who are like-minded and have similar interests.
So how do we encourage activity on this platform? How do we reward people for their contributions and showing their expertise? So to do this, we built a reputation and badge system, which gives users the ability to show off their expertise in various technologies or specific elements of CS, but also just as a global user. And in doing so, by answering questions, say you answer a bunch of React questions and you're rewarded on the platform as other users enjoy the type of feedback you give, you're able to be rewarded with badges which showcase both on your profile and on the questions themselves, so you can show your expertise and display that you know what you're talking about.
So, time to join the Hive. As a platform, as a team, we're creating more than a platform. We're creating a community where all coders can thrive. Let's transform how users and developers learn one project at a time. Also, don't forget to fly over to our poster booth after the presentation to learn more about CodeHive. Thank you so much.
Okay, our next team up is AccessiScan, a Chrome extension that helps developers spot and fix web accessibility issues early, fostering inclusive design from the start. Let's give it an applause for them. Thank you.
All right, hello everyone. So we are AccessiScan, and our goal this semester has been to empower students to learn about accessibility and to implement accessible features in their websites. My name is Amelia, I am the technical innovator, and these are my technical teammates, Josie, Jeffrey, Ethan, and our UI designer, Hongi. Now I'll pass it on to Josie.
So as you can see by our user interviews, students don't typically know what accessibility means or how to implement it. Accessibility covers a wide range of topics that is not often considered throughout the development process. Also, as from these quotes, you can see that this is not something that is typically discussed or taught in classes. So Carol S. is based on our user interviews. She is a CS student at BU. She is trying to create a professional portfolio to help her throughout her internship process. As you can see from the graphic of her portfolio, it's abysmal. You can't see the text, and the color contrast is extremely low. There is also an image in there, but we don't know what it is because she didn't label it. These are just some basic aspects of visual accessibility. So when Carol S. decides to intentionally implement accessibility, we get this result, which is much, much better. From this, you can see the text, and you can see what her projects are and who she is, and the overall aesthetic is much more appealing. Because of this, recruiters are much more interested in her as an applicant and a candidate.
So what is the solution that got Carol from point A to point B? Well, we created AccessiScan, which has a website where users can learn about accessibility through our recommended resources. Then they can download our Chrome extension, where they can scan their website on their local host or deployed version to receive near instant feedback on how accessible their website is based on 4 different accessibility types, from contrasting colors, text size, labeled images, and line spacing. Then if they have more questions, they can engage on our community board, where they can post questions about accessibility and receive feedback from other developers in the community. And lastly, they can track their progress on their profile page, where they can see what scores they've gotten on different pages they've scanned and through the different accessibility types. So how exactly did Carol use AccessiScan to improve her website? Well, she began by downloading our Chrome extension, and she scanned her website for contrasting colors, where she then decided to go to recommended resources to learn more about accessible color palettes. From there, she decided to look at the highlighted elements on her page that were considered inaccessible, and she changed the colors until she improved her score and got a 100%. Now that her website was more accessible, recruiters were actually able to see her incredible achievements, and she landed her first internship as a software engineer. Therefore, accessibility is what drove Carol to improve her website overall and is the first step to her career as a successful software developer. So from here, we want to empower our peers to learn about accessibility and to go into the workforce well prepared about accessibility. And we want to encourage students that we want to start at the beginning. This is often treated as an afterthought. Accessibility is often treated as an afterthought, and in reality, it should be considered throughout the design and development process. So, start from the beginning. Don't let accessibility be an afterthought. Use it to drive your design, and use AccessiScan to guide your development. And please join us at our poster board later today. Thank you.
All right, everyone. That was some great stuff from AccessiScan. Now, next up, we have Talentora, which is a conversational AI platform that revolutionizes interviews and screening using NLP techniques as well as sentiment analysis.
All right, hi everybody, we are Talentora, and throughout the course of this semester, we built a platform for hiring managers to improve their hiring with conversational AI assessments, and we're really excited to show what we have. Yep, that's it. Can you control that? Okay. So every company knows that talent is their most important asset, but a lot of businesses are still using outdated tools to hire, and so we wanted to improve that. A study by the Society of HR Managers found that 3 out of 4 companies are struggling to hire in 2024. And a lot of that is because the existing tools like resume scanners or online assessments don't do a good enough job of finding the important characteristics about candidates. And with recent developments in AI and sentiment analysis, we thought we could improve that. So instead of calling 5 or 6 candidates who apply to a role, we built a system that asynchronously interviews thousands of candidates all at once, conducts a 30-minute interview, and it provides a detailed report on things like communication skills, problem solving, and their fit for the role.
Introducing Talentora. We find the aura in your candidates and make hiring magical. The recruiters are looking for 3 ways to improve their workflow. First, they want to diversify their interviews so that they can get multiple aspects of each candidate. Second, they want methodology to go over multiple talents quickly and accurately. And finally, they want to minimize the amount of repeated labor and maximize work organization. With the integration of popular ATS systems like Greenhouse, Workday, or Lever, Talentora will revolutionize the first-round hiring processes. We make use of real-time generative AI to conduct human-like phone screenings that are both interactive and comprehensive, as well as allowing for the interviewees to have a more authentic and equal opportunities. This way, both company recruiters and applicants can take advantage of our product. Now, let me dive deeper into more of our magical features of Talentora.
Introducing Aura Scouts, your personalized hiring assistants. Imagine an interviewer who is always enthusiastic and never tires, and one who you can fully customize to your specific needs. Now, let's say maybe you wanted the scout to have the voice of a blunt Aussie accent, or maybe a posh British accent. If you have any specific questions you would like it to ask, Aura Scouts will do what you tell. Now, as an interviewee, you'll join the meeting room with the scout and have a one-on-one conversation with it, discussing your background, interests, and maybe any other specific questions the interviewer might have for you. It'll be customized specifically for your interview experience. Now, you might ask, what is so cutting edge about this? This is where all the magic happens. We'll take the interviewee's conversation with the scout and do a complete thorough analysis. See, in hiring, it's not only what they say, but how they say it that's truly important. So, by evaluating their emotions, their tone, and delivery alongside the words they say, we gain a much deeper understanding of the candidate. As such, Talentora delivers the most comprehensive first-round interview analysis, evaluating candidates' behaviors and qualifications to ensure the team's best fit. Now, with Aura Scouts and our analysis framework, Talentora transforms first-round interviews into extremely personalized and insightful experiences. Join us in helping you build your dream team.
Our last team today is Gemini, a live online game that makes mastering English exam concepts fun and competitive for Korean students.
Hi, we're Gemini, when we turn English learning into a competitive sport. As an international student from South Korea, I understand how challenging it is to learn English. Koreans spend thousands of dollars for boring lectures, textbooks, and cram schools, and none of it feels fun or effective. So my team wanted to change that. After some research, we found that 1 in 3 adults in Korea take the TOEIC Korean English exam. They spend hundreds of dollars on preparing, which creates a $128 million market opportunity. But preparing for this test isn't easy. It's a challenging test. So much that 80% of the students find the process stressful. On top of that, the average cost to get ready for this exam is around $600. To make matters worse, most students tackle this on their own, with 26% reporting that they feel lonely while studying. Sure, there are apps out there that can help with TOEIC prep, but many of them are still stressful and leave students working entirely on their own, which is boring and non-effective. To really boost engagement and keep students on track, we need a more sustainable approach, one that makes the whole experience actually fun.
That's where we step in. We make TOEIC prep addictive and fun by turning it into an engaging game-like experience with competitive mini-games. Instead of studying solos, students get to challenge each other, making the entire process more exciting and motivating. Here's how it works. Students launch a game session, share the link with a friend, and then compete in real time, much like Kahoot. After the games wrap up, students can use our review feature to revisit any missed questions with interactive flashcards, much like Quizlet. This way, they can actually build on what they've learned and boost their scores. Also, students can keep track of their progress on a personal dashboard. Features like streaks, combos, and time spent learning can actually make them feel rewarded, encouraging them to keep coming back. Learning English and moving to the United States opened so many doors for me. That's why we want to offer that same kind of opportunity to everyone by making English learning more fun, accessible, and truly engaging. Thank you.
Well, that was the innovation projects. All right. Hopefully the judges have determined which ones are the winners. You know, I'm always really impressed with what the teams come up with. Like, you know, really, they were just ideas, right? At the beginning of the semester, and you saw some demos. You can go and see it at the poster sessions where it's actually like running. It's really very cool. So next we're going to move into what we call the X Lab or Experience Lab projects. This one is quite a bit bigger. So we have a number of classes. So some of the earliest ones were 519 and JMCL. 519 is the software engineering practicum. We also have the machine learning practicum, which has also been around for a really long time. And that's 549. We just often refer to them by the codes now. But then we've moved into doing data visualization class. We have a direct data science class. We have a user experience and design class that pairs with this software engineering class. And I feel like I'm forgetting one. You know, so we have all these different classes, but each class has teams that in the class they have maybe 8 projects that they're doing for third parties. And so what you're going to see now is basically the presentation from the team that was recommended by the instructors for the one that should be on stage. But each team has a poster downstairs, and you should definitely go check them all out. They're very cool, and they're just kind of like, they're all over the place, right? They do all sorts of different things, from AI models to mobile apps to everything in between. So you should definitely check it all out. But again, thank you so much for the innovation teams, and we'll welcome the next team to the stage, which is actually from the class I'm teaching, which is the Justice Media Collab, where they published a story in MarketWatch very recently, and so they're going to come on stage and present that story. So welcome to the stage.
Hey everyone, we're with Justice Media Collab, and we're very excited to show you what we've been working on. The Montana Senate election was one of the most watched elections in the country this year. This race between incumbent John Tester and Republican challenger Tim Sheehy has raised an unprecedented amount of money from political action committees. We aim to uncover how money shapes election outcomes in battleground state races like Montana.
Hi, I'm Katrina. I'm the journalism student on this team.
Hi, I'm Tana. I'm a computer science student on the team.
And I'm Mohammed, a computer science student on the team.
And I'm Daniel, the data science student on the team. And the stakes couldn't be higher, $165,516,722. That's the total amount of money spent by outside organizations like PACs, super PACs, and nonprofit organizations on this Senate race. To clarify, political action committees, or PACs, are organizations that pull together contributions to influence elections. This was the third most expensive Senate race in the 2024 election cycle, and we wanted to answer why.
We had a few key questions that guided our research and analysis, such as why are PACs spending so much on this Senate race in particular? What are the top donating PACs, and who are their largest donors and supporters, whether it's causes, companies, industries, individuals, or other groups? And overarchingly, how does PAC spending influence candidate favorability and election outcome? In the weeks prior to the election, the polling shifted dramatically, with the Democratic and Republican candidates flipping for the lead multiple times. So in order to answer all of these questions, we analyzed campaign contribution data with our own methodology.
Yeah, so first we had to obtain the Montana Senate spending data from a publicly open source called Open Secrets, which is a nonprofit organization that tracks money in politics. So our initial goal was to use the Open Secrets API, however, our request was unsuccessful. So our alternative option was to write a Python script that scrapes the live data from the website and makes it into a CSV file. And upon obtaining the CSV file, we sorted the PACs by cause, and after cleaning up the data a little more, we imported that into Google Sheets, then used Flourish for visualizations.
As you can see, these are the Flourish visuals we used in our final article published in MarketWatch. After meeting with some of the MarketWatch editors, we decided to focus on simplicity but yet interactive visualizations. The two bar graphs are economically focused PAC spending, and they are split by both Democrat and Republican supporting. And the pie chart shows which PAC categories were the top spenders, again split by Democrat and Republican, and allow our readers to derive their own conclusions from the data.
We found that economically focused PACs were the highest spending cause and overwhelmingly favored the Republican candidate. We also found that environmental PACs and issues were very significant for the Democratic candidate, and that billionaire donors to PACs, often from finance industry backgrounds, overwhelmingly supported the Republican candidate. After consulting political scientists and interviewing them for the article, we found that the Montana Senate race was pivotal in Republican control of the US Senate, and that the sheer amount of money spent in this race was representative of a national trend of expensive campaigns and a shift towards the right. So if you want to learn more, please check out the article, give it a read. It would mean a lot to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I do want to point out my co-instructor for the class, who was sitting right over there. Oh, there she is. So Brooke Williams, who is the journalism side of the house, whereas I'm the nerd side of the house for that class. So it's very cool. So next up, I want to welcome the team from the UX practicum. So the way this class works is they are often actually working on two projects for a semester. One that is in collaboration with the software engineering class, where they're kind of developing wireframes or design, et cetera, for the software engineering team to actually implement. But then they're often also working on another project that is kind of too early stage for doing development yet, and they're going to be presenting one of those projects. And those instructors are Morgan Curran, who's over there, and Augustina, who is not here probably because she's very imminently having a baby. Welcome to the stage are the social justice app team.
Hi guys, we are BCS Social Justice App, and this semester we created the platform Be the Messenger. So starting off, I'm just going to give a brief introduction of the team, going from left to right. I'm Ruby, that's Heather, Avdeep, and David.
So what we're doing here is we're creating a web app for our client, Dr. Brian Chad Starks. Dr. Starks is a nationally recognized social justice advocate and a founder and CEO of BCS and Associates. Our web app satisfies two objectives. The first is to provide a bespoke content delivery platform for the extensive library of course content and publications that Dr. Starks has produced. And the second is to provide a community hub where people from all backgrounds who have the same interest in social justice can have productive conversations. As UI UX designers, what we are doing is creating an experience that is engaging, intuitive, and looks good. Some of you who might be using Dr. Stark's web app in the future might be an activist. You prefer direct action. You want to educate yourself, maybe join a course. Others might be academics. You have a specialization, a specific focus, and you want to join discussion to talk with other like-minded professionals. Finally, some of you are entrepreneurs, business leaders, and you might want to schedule consultations, purchase coaching packages, such that the doors of opportunity are open to all, especially those from marginalized communities. And our user experience has to satisfy the needs of every single one of these user archetypes.
Okay, so now we are going to walk through the account creation process. So the first step is that the user would sign up and they see this landing page, which is the beginning of a multi-slide process where a user will input their information pertaining to their interests and preferences. Next, we will walk through the course content process, and we will navigate to the coaching sidebar, and we will see information here about the various coaching packages, workshops, and free to download coaching content that we provide. And so we will select upon a coaching package that pertains to our interests, and this will open up a detailed page showing the additional information and where we can elect to schedule and purchase this course content.
Yeah, so now you might be wondering, how are we combining all these user archetypes together? And that's where our communities tab come in. So we have various communities that people can join based on affinity groups, based on what kind of DEI efforts they want to do, and what steps they want to take in social justice. And we're trying to satisfy all those things with our different communities. And as you kind of saw in the demo, that takes the place of like a social media-esque design where people are able to comment and engage with each other, and also create their own posts. And so we didn't show off our iterations, but we took into consideration our user testing, and the final designs that we showed came off from these kind of learning platforms that we learned about. So the first thing was that we talked about our dashboard, which you may have saw in one of the slides, but originally it was very redundant, and we wanted to reduce that redundancy and really center the user in themselves by having like a very recommended slides that came up for them in terms of what communities they want to join and what really satisfies their interest in this app. The next thing was that we made our communities more interactive. In the original communities branch, we didn't really have much in terms of how are we having people communicate with each other, and it was more just people would be able to post, and that was really it. So we implemented that as well. The next thing was our user-friendly onboarding. We wanted to make sure that people, as soon as they get onto our app, are feeling welcomed by what we're trying to do, because that's the whole point of social justice and DEI. And the last thing was in our course content page. We wanted to make it more clear on what's going on, what kind of things are being offered here in terms of courses and just workflow.
And lastly, I'll just be going over some of our next steps. So essentially this semester, we developed the user side features, and hopefully in the future, we would like to flesh out the admin features so that our client, Dr. Chad Starks, has the ability to look over some user data analytics, but also add some moderation features into the communities feature tab. But yeah, that's all. Thank you for listening.
All right, so next up, we have from the 519 class, the software engineering class, who is taught by Nagendra and Matthew, neither of which I can see right now, but they might be here somewhere. And so this project is actually for an organization at Boston University called the Community Service Center. And so they've been working on this app to help enable students to track their time volunteering. So welcome to the stage.
Hello, everyone. So we are the Boston University Community Service Center app. Just to introduce the team really quick, I'm Alex.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Jasper.
And I'm Jeffrey.
And our UX designers are not presenting with us today because we're just focusing on the software engineering aspect, but they're valuable members of our team as well. So just to talk about what's motivated the creation of this app and kind of the problem that we're aiming to solve, is we're really trying to cut the red tape that limits people from volunteering and allowing the student volunteers to do what they really are meant to do, which is give back to the community. So through our app, we want to simplify processes and make it easier for volunteers to register for events and track their hours. And this is really valuable because some students, for example, have mandated community service, so tracking those hours is really important.
So the solution approach So the solution approach is our online web application that aims to streamline the volunteering service and hour logging process by connecting students with nonprofits and volunteering organizations through a centralized web app, which is for the BU Community Service Center, the CSC, which is our CSC web app.
Just to talk a little bit about how data is flowing through our app and our users. We have three main users. We have the administrators for the app, which are the people who are approving third-party organization signups and approving hours for students. We have third-party organizations, which post events for students to sign up for them to volunteer for. And then obviously we have students who sign up for events and log their hours through our app. And as you can see, it does get a little bit complicated as various types of data. We have a couple of demonstrations of how posting events, approving events, and then signing up for events, of how that data, for example, flows between these three users. So tracking that and wrangling those complex flows, it was necessary for our implementation of this app.
So for our final deliverables this semester, our main focus was on that third-party view, which allows organizers to create events, as well as handle the student volunteers who join those events. Next, we implemented waitlists, which just allows for more flexible control over the capacity of events. And we also had to switch our OAuth process to Clerk so that non-BU affiliated accounts can also be part of our platform. And then lastly, we implemented a email reminder system so that volunteers can receive a 24-hour notice of their upcoming events. And next up, we have a quick demo of the third-party view. So first up is the dashboard view, which it's just a quick overview of the upcoming pages. The My Events page, which allows organizers to create events, see student feedback, and modify their events. There's the submissions page, which allows organizers to approve or deny volunteer applications to their events. The pending hours page, which allows organizers to approve or deny the logged hours submitted by student volunteers. And then finally, the settings page, which allows organizers to modify their information within our system.
So for our future user stories, which are things that we want to work on in future semesters, the first thing we want to work on is developing S3 storage so that we could store larger files and images on the cloud, which users need to upload, such as forms. The second thing is adding more to admin management functionality so that admins can actually manage when users either register very late for events or when people get moved off the wait list.
Thank you for listening.
All right, everybody, just a general reminder that there will be posters right after this, so you can go and learn more about these. And there's an audience decision award. So remember to vote for the teams that you think deserve the audience, most appreciated award. And those announcements will be at the end, where we will probably do them from downstairs and present those awards, which is kind of cool. So definitely vote. Check out those posters. But next up, I want to invite, this is actually a new class this semester, and I know the instructor, Bahar, is traveling, so she is definitely not here. But this class is about kind of more general data science and kind of investigating data to discover various things. And so this particular project is about racial bias in traffic stops, and so let's welcome them to the stage.
Hi everyone, our project is Racial Bias in Police Traffic Stops for Data Science 539. Imagine you're a public defender with hundreds of cases and one of your clients was arrested in a racially biased traffic stop. If you could prove with statistical evidence that the police officer had a history of racial bias, you could change the trajectory of your client's life. But what public defender has the statistical techniques and the time to analyze the racial bias of a police officer, especially if you have multiple cases?
So that's where we come in. I'm Briona. I'm a junior in data science with a minor in economics.
I'm Nicole. I'm also a data science junior with a minor in innovation and entrepreneurship.
My name is Sarah, and I'm also a data science major with a minor in innovation and entrepreneurship.
And I'm Vijay. I'm a data science junior with a minor in economics.
So the objective of our project was to create a legal tool that would allow Boston public defenders to assess the racial biases that we see in a lot of the police department and specifically on an individual officer scale. And so we did two things in order to achieve this. We first performed some macro level analyses in order to assess this, and we also created a tool that allows people to see the racial biases from a very individual officer perspective.
So starting with our two big data sets, we started by cleaning all of our data, then we decided to merge it and perform some preliminary analyses to see what trends we can see. From there, we created some macro level visualizations of traffic stops for Boston as a whole, and then from there we were able to create an interactive dashboard that can be used in court cases for an individual officer and individual traffic stop cases.
As for our methodology, we employed SQL to clean our data, Looker Studio to visualize it, and Python to aid with both of those processes.
Awesome. So we're going to run through a little demo, hopefully. I will click play on the laptop.
Oh no. You got it, it's right there.
There we go. Awesome. So this is our dashboard. And we're going to, let's say that I was a public defender trying to look at an officer. We're going to look at Officer Quinby, who is a real BPD officer. To be clear, I have no evidence that Officer Quinby has committed any racial bias. But let's say we were looking into an officer. So if you put in Officer Quinby, this record count here will change and show that between 2020 and 2024, Officer Quinby had 1,424 traffic stops. This dashboard down here sort of shows the escalation of their traffic stops. So we have a warning, a civil violation, an arrest, and a criminal violation. And as you can see, Officer Quinby was more likely to give stronger violations to people of color, and 66% of their traffic stops were people of color. Now, it's also important that we compare these statistics to the demographics of the neighborhood or the town where the officer was arresting people, because there are neighborhoods that have demographic changes. So you can look at the second part of the dashboard. If you put in this officer's ID, we can compare the officer to their task profile, which is what district they're in or what their task is. So for example, a detective. And you can also compare it at the location level. So Officer Quinby had their arrests mostly happen in Dorchester. And as you can see, more than 60% of their arrests were people that were, of their traffic stops were people that were black. But less than 60% of the traffic stops in Dorchester were black people. So this raises the question, was Officer Quinby an officer who had a significant level of racial bias in the traffic stop? And this dashboard could actually be used in court cases. If a public defender had a traffic stop and wanted to prove there was racial bias, there's a thing called a long motion where the public defender could use this dashboard to help one of their clients in a traffic stop violation. Thank you.
right, well, thank you so much. All right, so next up, we actually have the machine learning practicum class, and one of our judges is the instructor for that, Tom Gardos. Give a big round of applause, because he's presenting alone, but this is for the National Lawyers Guild of Massachusetts to try to do text prediction or to understand text better, but obviously he's going to explain it better than I am. Warm welcome, please.
All right, so every year, hundreds of civilian complaints are submitted towards Boston Police Department officers, and they're reviewed by the Boston Police Department. And that gives rise to some questions. So how many of these cases reveal patterns of unchecked misconduct and systematic bias? And also, can we develop a tool to help find these patterns? So I'll be showing you our product, which is Faircase AI, and we'll be showing how this model can help with this process. So just a quick introduction. My name is Abdelazim. I'm an AI master student in my final semester here at BU, and unfortunately the rest of my team couldn't make it today, so shout out to Rohan, Matthew, and Yewan. Regardless, we're very excited to show you what we've been working on all semester, so let's get started. So there's been an increasing demand for more accountability and transparency regarding the misconduct of officers across the US, and Boston is certainly no exception when it comes to that. There's a clear discrepancy between the level of accountability that the public expects from police officers and the actual level of accountability that officers experience today. So our clients at the National Lawyers Guild have made it their mission to increase the transparency and accountability that officers are held by. And they aim to do this by manually analyzing all the civilian complaints against police officers that they can get their hands on. But the problem with that is it's a very slow, tedious process that limits their ability to process a large amount of cases and find the ones that are actually worth investigating. So with Faircase, we hope to improve this process by automating the analysis of the case description and the allegation. And our model also takes into consideration an officer's previous history of misconduct. And then finally, we use the Boston Police Department rulebook as well as the advanced reasoning capabilities of large language models in order to generate a predicted reprimand for that officer. Now, to be clear, this model is not meant to replace human reasoning and decision-making in such a critical matter. It is only meant to give the National Lawyers Guild another means of finding cases that are worth their attention. So that would be the case where the actual prediction and the actual reprimand and the predicted reprimand vary greatly. And those specific situations would require personal investigation from the client. And that investigation would involve questions such as, most importantly, did the model make a mistake, which is not at all unlikely? And then to answer that question, we'd have to ask, what justification did the model give for its conclusion? On the other hand, is the actual reprimand not in line with the Boston Police Department rules and guidelines? And in that case, we'd have to ask why. Could there be missing evidence that maybe justifies the officer's actions that we just don't know about? Or is there something else going on? So, of course, there are huge ethical concerns when it comes to using any generative AI model for such a critical process like this one. And so it's very important that it's kept in mind throughout the process of using this model. And of course, we have flaws when it comes to the data that we've been given. So the data that the Boston Police Department gives us only contains the initial complaint filed by the complainant himself, which may not be fully truthful. In addition to that, the Boston Police Department rulebook can be sometimes vague when it comes to determining what the punishment an officer should receive for their actions, especially when it comes to the more severe cases. And last but definitely not least is the fear of automation bias, which is just basically over-relying on the model, thinking it's perfect in every way, which is far from the truth. And so it's very important that the model be used only to assist in finding the cases that are worth investigating, that deserve further investigation. So thank you very much. If you'd like to learn more about Faircase, we'll be doing our poster presentation at 6:30 at Board I.
Nice job. I I've been very impressed. We've done a lot of work actually with the National Lawyers Guild, so we really appreciate their being a continuing client. So next up, we have a project from our data visualization class, where Anthony is the instructor, who's right there, and that project is Connect Ed, and this class is obviously focused on data visualizations and like how can you explain data with pictures, right? So welcome to the stage. Connect Ed.
Hi guys, we're Connected, and our project helped to use data to promote student belonging. So my name is Anshi. I'm a data science major and a senior.
Hi, I'm Javeria. I'm a junior studying CS.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm a senior studying CS and DS.
Hi, I'm Sokun, and I'm data science major, and I'm also senior.
So who's our client? Curtis Miller is the co-founder of Connected. Connected is a platform that promotes students' mental health through coaching, training, program development, and evaluation. By using evidence-based solutions, Connected fosters collaboration and resilience in communities using insights from both neuroscience and psychology. The goal of this project is to use network data to foster both student belonging and mental health awareness.
So the data set that we got was a social network graph that was created with like an active ONA method. So by surveying students and staff, there are over 2,000 nodes which represented the students and staff across the middle and high school. And then there are over 5,000 vertices which represented the connections between those students. And we also got some metrics. Students self-reported their feeling of mental health and belonging, as well as their involvement in the community.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about how we use different tools for this project. So for data processing and cleaning, we have applied ChatGPT and Python to map all categorical features that were hard to interpret. And we also applied Network X for deeper analysis in network for Python. And for data visualization, we have applied Tabular to create our own dashboards for based on different user stories. And we also apply Matplot library to create customized plots. Yeah.
So some of the key takeaways from this project, one of them is we looked at mental health. Students self-reported the days they missed of school due to mental health, and we saw with regression analysis that there's actually a negative relationship where the less belonging that you felt, the more days you missed due to mental health from school. And then we also took a look, we made some different network maps looking at the different student activities and looking at different centrality metrics. And as you see on the graph, one thing we looked at was the clustering within students in an activity. And we saw that leadership and identity clubs, which one is represented in the blue, had a lot more connections between their members as compared to some of the sports teams in the red. Students didn't report connection as much across that club.
And lastly, we noticed that for two of the specific clubs, environmental science and writing club, using degree centrality, which is supposed to measure the amount of connected nodes that are within a network, these happen to be the most connected, which means that they help to broaden how students perceive it in the community, and they help to connect to other students that may not be in their shared hubs. So they're really good for like bridge gaps between school community overall.
So based on my user story, belonging and demographics, I have created some visualization to see the comparison between the students who have spent most time online and the students who have spent least time online. And the key insight I have got is that students who have spent most time online had the lowest belonging scores, and their interest was music, online gaming, and art.
And my user story involved student belonging and adult belonging, but for this semester, I only focused on student belonging, specifically looking at a key parameter that prevented students from belonging. And the three main categories were peer conflicts, bullying, workload and academic pressures, and mental health and emotional well-being.
Oh,
thank you. That's it. Thank
you.
Well, thank you, Connect Ed. So next up, we actually have the same class, but it's two different sections. So this is Tools for Data Science, and this one is going to be a project from Tom Gardos again's section, which is a project for Senator Markey, who you may have heard of, about grant allocation. And so I'd like to welcome them to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. We are the Senator Markey's team. To give a brief team breakdown,
Technical difficulties.
sorry about that. So to give a quick team breakdown, my name is John Saloom. I acted as the team lead for this project.
I'm Anthony.
I'm Danny.
I'm Atul.
And I'm Carlos. And we're here to present the work we accomplished during the semester. So to give a brief overview about the project, we were asked by the client to analyze federal discretionary grants across the state of Massachusetts. They wanted us to visualize the grants to see where they were going, as well as look at key demographic information to see how it influenced the type of grant that was given, as well as the total funding a city received.
As for our data, it was derived from invest.gov. Particularly, we had some difficulties with location names, with irregularities, which we had to remove. Fortunately, they didn't impact our analysis of the data. Particularly, the data contained certain features, including the ones that you see over there. However, they didn't quite meet what our client wanted, so we had to enrich the data with some of the other features over there. So the process we used was basically using the sub-county census tracts to obtain a geo-ID that we could match by city name. Then we matched the geo-IDs with the 2020 decennial data and the American Community Survey, which we were able to get demographic and median income information, and it would resemble something like this with, of course, more columns.
We then applied k-means clustering on our data, where every plot in the graph represents a city in Massachusetts, and we were comparing racial demographics and income. So the x-axis represents the percentage of the city that identifies as white, and the y-axis represents the median annual household income. We used the elbow method to derive 3 distinct clusters, and we're able to transpose those clusters onto an actual map of Massachusetts. You could see where these cities are geographically located, and you can click on each city to get demographic and more funding information.
Okay, so with regards to the maps, we actually use Nominatim and Folium to do the maps. Nominatim get the latitudes and longitudes in each and every city and county of Massachusetts, and Folium to actually plot the maps. Initially, we did get like this little tiny Google Maps type of thing, but then after that, we leveraged MassGIS, the shape files, and we got all the boundaries and everything of each and every city and county of Massachusetts, and we used parameters just population and per capita funding to do our maps and give a clear understanding of the data.
Thank you. And you can see all of our work on the QR code there. There's the one on the left is for the maps. We made maps of different genres. We also did the dashboard, interactive dashboard. You can set up whatever parameters you want and filter. It's the culmination of our work, and you are invited to the poster session later to see them.
So to summarize, the dashboards allow the client to better visualize the current grant distribution, helping them make more informed decisions for the following years. With an election process behind us, this should prove especially useful for 2025. As for the visualizations themselves, we're able to see that low-income, highly diverse cities receive the majority of the funding, with the categories popular here being environmental remediation and clean water and energy, 2 categories that are very important to the team. As for challenges from our data, we did have to drop intercity and regional grants, which could have caused a little bit of a loss of information that could have proved useful. That's all we have for you today. We appreciate your time and patience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. And I would like to announce or have the last team, which is Scott Leidenheim's class. Oh, there he is. And so this is the other section of the prior class, Tools for Data Science. And they are going to be presenting a project on behalf of Boston Children's Hospital, which is about children's health equity. And welcome to the stage.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. First, we want to thank Benjamin Thomas for being here. And this is our group. I'm Jakob, Apurva, Akshara, and Ashre, and we worked with Boston Children's Hospital. BCH is a leading pediatric hospital working towards the well-being of children in Massachusetts. And we were working with hospital's Office of Government Relations, and they were believing in the hypothesis that children's health is underinvested in recent years, and we worked to create a dashboard to get more insights about this phenomenon. So about the data collection and web scraping, we didn't have enough data initially. So on the other side, you see the line item highlighted and the budget, which was the initial Massachusetts legislature data, our source. And we run it through this pipeline of filtering, regex, and manual checking to get the final clean data with all the health programs and the budget for the specific year. That's about the budget analysis part. So this is a separate part, which is about Medicaid and CHIP applications enrollment. This is also about health programs and insurance that children were enrolled in. You can look at this chart. Take a moment, you can see this increasing trend starting from 2020. So this is related to COVID situation, and they relaxed the eligibility requirement, not unenrolling people who were normally be unenrolled during a period because, again, of a COVID situation. And then suddenly in mid-2023, the policies changed and they unenrolled a lot of people, causing this decrease. It's not only a Massachusetts trend, it's happening in California, Florida, New York. So we see it's all about like the same pattern happening everywhere. So we decided to compare the states, Massachusetts with the other states, and we see as of a snapshot in 2023, it is having the lowest proportion of children being enrolled under 18 population in Massachusetts compared with New York, which is having the highest. Now about the findings.
Yeah, so we'll directly jump on to the findings, what we found, and we found certain interesting themes. So because we are talking about investment in children health from the state's perspective, we found that the state is trying to create a very fostering environment around child. They're heavily investing in the second category, which is child welfare, which is under line item family support and stabilization, and creating a healthy atmosphere around children by investing more in sexual assault protection and youth at-risk matching grants. We can also see that the funding is growing at 62.5% year on year and at an CAGR of 25%. Another interesting fact that we figured out was youth jobs, specifically for youth at risk. This particular program, there was a lot of investment, around $24 million in 2022, and then now they're stabilizing somewhere around 16.5 million for this year's baseline. This is basically a very interesting case because Marciano, which is one of the dining in the BU campus itself, over there during the less crowded times, you can see special kids serving food. And the intention of the state is to make sure that the kids who need special attention are also the part of the national mainstream. So this is a very major highlight from our study. However, there are a few lowlights as well that we would like to figure out that the Boston Children's Hospital is actively working on. And one such is the early intervention services in K-12 education, where they have witnessed a 37% decline in the budgeting, and it is presently at 2019 baseline. Same goes with supplemental nutrition assistance program. Apparently, from preventive healthcare perspective, nutrition to children becomes very crucial, and the existing baseline around the $350,000 is not as per the initial trends that we saw in 2017. Another very crucial part of preventive healthcare is immunization, and we are seeing that 23 onwards, there is no investment coming particularly for this category. So what is the impact that we draw from here? So the dashboard that we presented to the stakeholders is enabling them to come up with macroeconomic trends with which they can reach out to the relevant departments in order to gauge the policy aspects and to understand what is going wrong. Another thing that we figured out is some of these categories have an hybrid funding model wherein you have some funding coming from the state agencies and another part coming from the federal sources. There might be the case that for certain line items, federal part of the funding is not coming, or maybe the fund has been diverted to some another category that might be less significant considering the state's intervention. The most important aspect of our study is that out of the 5 target areas that the Government Relations Office is targeting, our analysis proved 3 of those areas independently. So that was the eureka moment for us, and thank you again, Ben, for being here. And that's why he asked us to just continue the work with the mass budgeting team for the ongoing budgeting cycle with them. Thank you.
Well, that was all of our presentations. Thank you so much. But what I want to do is say, don't forget to check out the posters. And remember the audience award. And you can follow the QR code from these helpful staff members from the Spark team. And remember, the projects were Market Watch, Social Justice App, the BU Community Service Center, Police Bias and Traffic Stops, the National Lawyers Guild, I cannot say that, Predictive Text, the ConnectEd team, the Senator Markey Grant Allocation team, and then what you just saw, the Boston Children's Health Equity team. So remember, vote for each of the teams, and then stick around for the award ceremony, check out the posters. And then lastly, I'd like to welcome Ziva to the stage, the director of Spark.
Hi, everybody. All right. Thank you so much for staying. Thank you so much for the students for all their work. I think what's really amazing to me is that most college students don't know about federal budget cycles and things like that, but I think what's really amazing is that the work they're doing can really lead to change and to decisions being made and budget being allocated differently and to leveling the playing field about people and organizations that don't have access to resources and to these skills to really bring about broader change. So I think it's amazing what these students' skills can do and redeployed and working in partnership with a lot of different organizations. So I have a bunch of thank yous. First to the students. Second, I want to thank the many mentors that participate in our program. Every semester, the innovation program has about 25 mentors, many of whom are here today. All of our judges for coming and lending your time and expertise to give feedback to the students. The student ambassadors who run this space and make all of our operations happen on these events. Our PMs and TPMs, technical product managers, and TAs who are supporting these students through the semester of completing these projects. We have a bunch of experts and residents around the room who are also sort of super mentors and lend their domain expertise to these projects. Our adjunct and regular instructors who really help make these classes happen, without whom they wouldn't happen, and our project partners who bring these projects to us. To recruit 120 projects a year is no small task, and we're really grateful for all the folks that give us an opportunity to work with them. And then finally, I just want to call out the Spark team. These folks are really committed to providing experiences to students, to supporting them, to trying to create belonging. And there's one person so I'd love all the Spark folks to hold up their hands, because without them, this program literally would not happen. And I will get that in a minute. And there's one person that I want to call out because she is just the backbone of Spark, and that's Lydia. Thank you for everything you do. So, thank you all, and please go down and see the posters. look under the hood, and we'll be rotating every 25 minutes to a new class. And if you that's the award, but if you go to the agenda, which is somewhere around here, you can see, where different posters are, and if you're looking for a specific team, so you can dig in deeper. The innovation projects are going to be in the front room, 164, and then the other classes are flowing around. We'll rotate every 25 minutes. Awesome. Okay, we're going to get the agenda here. Woo-hoo. See? She makes everything work. I know. There you go. Okay, there's the agenda, so you can find where you want to go. And thank you all so much for giving us your time in this diabolical weather today. Really appreciate having you.